this argument about personal responsibility puts me at odds with people who view any mention of personal responsibility in connection with poverty, and again on such a momentous day, as blaming the victim. And this is especially true at a time of recession that's been tied directly to predatory lending among the poor and working class, high unemployment, and as Ron has pointed out, jobs are the #1 way to confront poverty, and the ever-widening fact of a class divide in American society, all undeniable. But structural economic shifts, I think, make it, even as they make it easy to dismiss calls for personal responsibility as imperious or callous. In fact, I'd argue exactly the opposite. I think they make the case for personal responsibility all the more compelling. The fact is that no structural shift, booms, recessions, have had much effect on the poverty rate that America has faced in the last 40 years. You go back to the time of Dr. King, let's say the late 60s, and he spoke about the nation being involved in deep, regrettable sin because the poverty rate then was over 14%. And even as we gather here today, looking at these new numbers, the poverty rate is about 15%. The notable change in terms of American poverty during that period would be who is at risk of falling into the grip of deprivation. Technological advances, the global economic workforce have placed tremendous pressure, it seems to me, specifically on blue-collar workers. A man without a high school diploma, and Ron called attention to the plight of men in specific, but a man without a high school education at the time of Dr. King still had a chance to succeed in America. That's if he had a strong back, a will to work. He could reasonably expect to find a job that allowed him to marry and support a family. Today, that's simply not true. Stable blue-collar jobs, without a doubt, have migrated overseas. People with college and graduate degrees are the ones who compete for the high-paying jobs and the stable jobs. People with college and graduate degrees are more likely to marry and stay married, forming high income and, again, stable two-parent families. And if you look at Ron and Bell's data, you'll see that second to the importance of jobs in addressing poverty rate would be the importance of that two-parent family. And all of that, of course, in the case of two-parent families, transfers advantage, education, contacts, and wealth to future generations. It gives children just a tremendous advantage. And this leads me to a conclusion that even as we talk about the importance of social policy to mitigate the impact of poverty, and we'll hear more about that shortly, we also have to deliver, I think, a very clear and honest message to the poor in America. And that is that there is much they can do to help themselves in the face of this depressing data.